Well, good evening, DCL podcast fans. Christy and I are back in the Cove. How you doing tonight, Christy?
I am well, Steve. How are you?
Not too bad. We left our last episode with when are the spring 2024 sale dates coming out? And now we have an answer.
Yep. And I said, I hope it's not now.
Because why, Christy?
Because Christy doesn't know how to stay home. I'm going to London this weekend.
To
go to London this weekend.
But there's a reason, right?
Well, it was kind of for a mileage run, but I'm meeting a friend and I was going to go, but Hurricane Ian rained on that parade. And so that it got canceled then. And so it got moved to this weekend.
Yeah. Most people go on a mileage run and they go maybe Seattle to San Francisco, but you go to London. I love it.
It needed to be a little more expensive from Seattle to San Francisco.
Okay. Guess what? You know what? My brother sent me a picture the other day, which is we're totally off topic right now. He sent me a picture because he's getting close to being a million miler with United Airlines. And he booked a trip and he's 200 miles away from becoming a million miler, which means he gets their benefits for life.
That's amazing. He better hurry up and get it before they revoke that.
Yeah, well,
those airlines are always getting rid of stuff.
He booked a trip in 2 weeks to come out here. So he's going to come out here and hang out with us he's going to see Wake and the kids for a night and see my parents and everything like that. And he will go over 1 million miles. And so I got to get some kind of cake or something special to celebrate it for him when he gets here.
Sure. Like a plain cake.
A plain cake. Yeah, it will be a plain cake because I don't like anything too fancy. So,
cake with a plain. How about that? Is that a better way to word it?
Well, I know that's what you meant, but
I was trying to figure out what mine is. I am very far away from that, but I felt like at one point there was a way to see your total miles, and on Delta's website, and I am not finding it. I got to that page. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I have still 375,000 miles to go. So
you're kind of like Chris going on Pearl. You're just getting there slowly.
Yeah, I will one day, right?
Yes, exactly. Anyways, okay, we totally digress. Well, we kind of jumped on this last minute. We were going to try and do it yesterday, but I think yesterday there was a lot of stuff going on, and you were traveling again, and I had some stuff going on at home, so we are finally getting it today. So for those of you who are watching this afterwards, I hope you enjoy it. But we are going to spend a little time in the Cove. I thought we'd just touch on this quick before we talk about the early 2024 booking dates that Disney Cruise Line is going to, and we talked about this on our last podcast, that they are celebrating their 25th anniversary, and those sailings are all going to be featured this coming summer of 2023. And do you have those dates again, Christy? You don't have to get through all of them.
We loosely have the dates, and the dates are loosely May through September on all the ships.
And just remember, all of the ships are going to be celebrating it. As we talked about, they're going to have a dance party up on the top deck, probably with the characters, a little celebration.
They do love a good dance party.
Can't get away from that dance party. They will also have drinks, themed cocktail drinks, and they talked about snacks and desserts and everything like that on board, along with special merchandise. So hopefully they're going to have a bunch of merchandise available for people to book and get. And what else did they announce that I'm forgetting?
Well, they're going to have more besides the new Castaway Club, but that's not related to this.
No, but the characters got new outfits, kind of just like the 50th outfits. Did you like them? Mm-hmm. Do you like the color?
I don't dislike them.
Yeah.
But look at it. Matches my hat. I will match them.
My shirt?
No.
Not quite.
No. No, it's but and for the people who are listening, whenever this is on, Steve has like a regular, like a light blue shirt. And I actually have a bit of a teal. Mine doesn't really match that much either. Blue hat on. But I think they're cute. I would actually buy those pants Minnie's wearing. Like swishy. You could totally see me in those types. Like swishy, comfy pants. Like that you throw on like nice shoes and you dressed yourself up. I would buy those. They should sell them to women.
They're the perfect tropical is where I was going with it. Perfect tropical kind of thing to wear when you're out for the evening on board the ships.
Yeah.
celebrating the 25th.
Oh yeah, there's going to be inspired craft cocktails. I don't think we missed anything because the things that we missed are things like inspired craft cocktails.
Right. But I guess just to reiterate, that's coming this summer. It's going to be on all 5 ships, and there are plenty of sail dates that are available for people from Alaska to the Caribbean to the Bahamas to over in Europe on the Disney Dream. And the magic will be, the magic's going to be over here on the West Coast, right?
No, the magic will be
the wonders on the West Coast.
Yes, in the Bahamas and the Caribbean.
That's right.
And the magic's like I did pull up the dates. The magic's 25th anniversary, silver anniversary at sea sailings are latest. They're the shortest. So she starts the 24th of May and ends September 4th. So really what I would say, and some of the ships start earlier, like May 6th or 7th. So what I guess I would say is if these dates are important to you and getting this sailing or getting on one of these like new thing sailings are important to you, look at the website, look at the dates, ask your travel agent, because you don't want to be on the one right before it and miss it if it's important to you. And if it's not, then enjoy the fact that everybody has left that ship to go to a later sailing that's included. Not true, but it may actually be a little less crowded because of that.
It could be. But anyways, if you're interested in it, just wanted to throw that back out there. Well, I'm sure we'll be talking about, there'll probably be some more information as it gets closer, as Disney Cruise Line likes to do, to give us more information as it gets a little bit closer with new experiences that they may put on board. All right, let's turn to what we were going to talk about tonight, which is basically the spring 2024 sailing release, which goes roughly from, it actually starts in December of 2023 with the Magic and goes all the way until May of 2024 for all 5 ships. And we'll go through some of their itineraries and some of the things we saw there. But as far as kind of the spring sailings go, Christy, in your mind, how do you kind of sum those up? Summer's always kind of exciting because where are they going to go in Europe and all that type of stuff. But how about spring? We're looking at spring.
I feel like spring is always just a little more traditional, a little boring. I hate to say the word boring, right? But it is a little. It's just doing its job of getting people from the north out of the cold, giving people somewhere to go on spring break, giving people that little break of whatever type of break they want, that first half of the first 5 months of the year. And it's doing its job.
Exactly. So for those of you looking to fill in those spring breaks, I know that we've already got spring break booked for the following year. We're not going to be doing a cruise, so we're kind of the crazy planners. Finally, you're going to be able to do that. I know a lot of people were kind of worried about that and what they might be doing in 2024. So anything else about these release before we kind of go through the different ships, Chrissy?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, let's talk about the boring one.
Boring to you. Well, how about safe, traditional, doing? Yeah.
You know what you're going to get.
You do know what you're going to get. All
right. So let's talk about the Disney Wish. The Disney Wish, the newest ship, the glamorous, shiny ship of the fleet, will be sailing out of Port Canaveral. Of course, we all know she's doing those 3 and 4 day sailings over to Nassau and Castaway Cay. And with the 4 day sailings featuring a day at sea, and really that's all she's going to be doing. So if you're looking to supplement your Walt Disney World or your Universal trip and go on a cruise while you're down in Florida and want to get on the Disney Wish on a quick, short cruise, you kind of know what you're going to get. Right.
There's actually one off sailing on January 2nd where she does a sea day instead of Nassau on a 3-night.
Oh, so that would be like 2 sea days, right? No, one sea day.
Because it's 3-night.
Yeah, you're right. Sea day and Castaway. And we didn't
Which is perfect, kind of, for a 3-day.
We didn't really break them down, but for people like our family that love that last day to be a sea day, sometimes they do have some one-offs where on those 4 nights, they will do Castaway first or Nassau first and finish up with a sea day. The Thanksgiving cruise tends to be that way because they do Thanksgiving on the last day, which is they make it a sea day. Well, but there are some other ones. On Thanksgiving. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me. Yeah.
Thanksgiving's not some crazy day on Tuesday during your cruise.
No, it's on Thanksgiving. Anyways, I guess
You know what? I never realized that though. So I'm making fun of you, but really you can make fun of me because I never realized, I don't know why my screen's so dark, but I never realized why they made it a sea day, but because it was Thanksgiving.
Because you want a nice
and you didn't realize Thanksgiving's on Thursday.
Well, I knew it was on Thursday, but I guess I didn't really quite say it the right way. But I guess what I'm saying is for those of you who enjoy a sea day, the last day, sometimes they have some one-off, so you have to kind of maybe peruse through there and see if you
go on Thanksgiving.
Go on Thanksgiving. There we go. Wait for two more releases from this one. All right, the Disney Fantasy is going to be doing 7-night Eastern and Western, and it doesn't look like they've added anything really different other than the Western's going to have stops at Cozumel, Georgetown, Grand Cayman, Falmouth, Jamaica, with featuring 3 days at sea.
No, 2.
Oops, 2 days at sea. Excuse me.
Sorry, I didn't mean to correct you like that, but
no.
This is what happens when it's 9:10. Now I'm just punchy and throwing out the things.
Yeah. Let me go back here. Okay, so the Western features Cozumel, Georgetown, Grand Cayman, Falmouth, Castaway Cay, and 2 days at sea. And then the Eastern is going to feature 3 days at sea with stops at Tortola, St. Thomas, and Castaway Cay as well. So let's turn to the Disney Dream. And the big news there is she's finally going to be sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, which we've kind of known about. I know that texting with some people that are looking to book her already back-to-backs out of Fort Lauderdale. They're excited because it's going to be, they live a little bit up in northern Florida, and they're going to be able to not have to go through that Miami traffic to get to the Port of Miami. So they're excited about driving there. What are your thoughts about the Dream sailing out of Fort Lauderdale, Christy?
I like Fort Lauderdale better. I like to save that 45 minutes in crazy Miami traffic. I mean, they are not kidding when they say Miami traffic is crazy. So it is just a little bit easier of a port to handle. I mean, both are easy in terms of getting to from the airport, but the Fort Lauderdale port, I think, is like 8 minutes from the airport. I mean, it is so close. So very convenient.
There's some fun hotels too. If you need to fly in ahead of time, there's some fun hotels that are down on the beach or on the water, and they have a water taxi that'll take you around to downtown. You can see all the rich people's yachts. You can see Christy's other house that's down there. Yeah. And
no, didn't win any.
I cut you off. What were you to say?
It's easier to do a beach stay that's not South Beach. You know, if that's not the vibe you're going for, and if you just want something convenient, and it's still very close to the port. So it is easier to do a beach stay before the Fort Lauderdale trip.
Okay. And if anybody's sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, I'd love to reach out to us. Well, I know that you have.
I mean, I just sailed out of Fort Lauderdale 2 weeks ago.
Okay. If anybody's sailed out of Fort Lauderdale, what I was getting at, and has stayed in Fort Lauderdale and has some experience with Fort Lauderdale, would like to come on and talk about Fort Lauderdale, we would love to have you come on and talk about Fort Lauderdale.
And actually, yes. Because, sorry that I cut you off this time. They have the intercoastal there, and there's
waterway
hotels that are right on that waterway as well. Sort of like how in Vancouver you can see the ships from the Pan Pacific. Yes, hotels there. And so the same theory, right? Like you can see the ship come in. Really cool. So yeah, I'd love to know people that can give us all the like pre-cruise, post-cruise. Obviously, I have some knowledge, but somebody who's really spent the time and done the excursions and done the stay, that would be great. We'd love to have you on.
So the Dream's got a lot of different options to go on as well. So she's got 3-night Bahamian, 4-night Bahamian, basically the same itineraries that the Wish has. And then she's got a bunch of different 5-night itineraries to the Western Caribbean, some that feature Georgetown and our Grand Cayman and Castaway Cay. One features Cozumel and Castaway Cay. One features Progresso. So a lot of different options on the Disney Dream as far as where she's going to be sailing. So get on the website and check it out if you want to sail on the Dream out of Fort Lauderdale. All right.
But there's one sailing we didn't discuss yet on
you're
the
right.
Dream.
I forgot. Why don't you bring it up?
Christy's favorite sailing, the double dip at Castaway Cay. So she's got one sailing on March 17th. So hopefully that covers somebody's spring break that's really interested in doing this sailing. You know, it's a sea day. It's 2 stops at Castaway. It is just a lovely cruise. It really is. And like that time of year is going to be great. It really is like kind of my favorite. If the favorite Bahamian / Caribbean, it's not really going to the Caribbean, but like that type of cruise. I mean, don't get me wrong, Greece was amazing, and that has to be my favorite, or the Panama, but like this is like an easy cruise. Like you go to really just unwind, relax, enjoy the ship, enjoy the offerings.
Yeah, one of these days we're gonna have to do it. And I got to backtrack. The Dream does not go to Progress. It only goes to 5 nights featuring either Georgetown and Castaway Cay with 2 days at sea, or Cozumel and 2 days at sea with Castaway as well. So let's go ahead.
No, go on, because I'll say what I was going to say in a minute.
Oh, hello, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Good to see you, Liz. Go ahead. No, I don't have anything beyond that.
Okay. No, we're going to move on, and I'll tell my Progresso comment in a minute.
All right, so let's move on to the Disney Wonder. The Disney Wonder will be over in Australia over just prior to this time frame, and she comes back to Vancouver from Hawaii, and then from Vancouver on March 11th, she's going to do a 4-night sailing featuring 3 days at sea down to San Diego, where she will take over to do her Baja cruises. And it does not have a stop. She's got to stop somewhere, but they don't have anything listed on it. So my guess is it'll probably be a Victoria stop on the way down. Then once she gets down to the Baja, she'll be doing kind of the typical things that she always does before she goes over to Australia. 3-night Baja sailings featuring Catalina Island and Ensenada. Then also there's a 4-night Catalina Ensenada day at sea. And then she's got, I believe, 2 7-night Mexico Rivieras down to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, and 3 days at sea. And we've got that booked. We're excited. We're going to do that one on the Magic, though, actually next Thanksgiving. So looking forward to finally doing the Mexican Riviera and going to get a little bit further south than Cabo San Lucas.
That's awesome.
And I'm excited to say that I know we've got a lot of listeners who are on the Trans-Pacifics heading down to Australia. And then I know a couple of listeners coming back on the Wonder when she comes back from Australia back to Hawaii. But we've got a good guest of the show. He's been on several times. Brett Nachman, he does a podcast of his own, and his family is going to be going down to Australia in just a couple of weeks and sailing with NCL. And he's agreed to come on and talk about kind of his experience being down in Australia and sailing down there. So if there's anybody that happens to be going down to Sydney and sailing with Disney Cruise Line down there, make sure to come back, and we'll get Brett's show out just as quickly as he can, so you can have some information of what his experience was like down in Australia. So excited to bring that one to you.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Any thoughts about the Wonder there, Christy, other than no? Maybe
she's the boring one. I am glad that my friends on the West Coast have a ship.
I am glad
it's a great ship.
You know what? And I'm glad that it's the Wonder of the Magic. So, but I'm biased towards the older ships. I love
I'm pretty sure you're the one who, like, months ago kept asking for the Fantasy to be on the West Coast. So I don't know. Is it really your favorite? Do you really want that one the most?
Well, whatever ship is out here is my favorite. How's that?
I'll accept that.
Okay. All right. Now let's move on. And we cannot go through this. Christy and I were like going through where the Magic is going before this and trying to piece it all together, but she's kind of like all over the place.
She is a little crazy. She's just having herself a little party.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you look at when she used to go to Europe and you're trying to figure out, okay, where's she going to be in Europe and everything else. So the Magic, we did not have sailings for her at Christmas time. She's going to head over to Galveston, and she's going to be doing some very maritime sailings out of Galveston through December and on into January. And then from January, she transitions over to New Orleans. But go ahead.
But before we have her leave Galveston, just something to note about Galveston. It's cold there and it's fine. And you leave and go to Mexico, but you just have to be prepared. And sometimes you go to the Caymans. You would just have to be prepared for that first day to be chilly. So like from a month ago until March, it's still pretty cold there sometimes, and especially in the morning. So, and then there's an issue with fog there often. So it's fine. And actually these cruises are a little bit less expensive typically because of the conditions, I guess. And it's just maybe less popular of a port. But yes, Chad just commented in our chat and he's like, isn't it super foggy? And that's what I was going to say as well. They have a fog problem. And so there are times if you are cruising out of there, just make sure your flights are a little bit later or the next day, because sometimes those ships are like 4 hours late because of fog. And it's not sometimes, it's a lot of times. And then you can't board until like 4 hours later as well, because, they have to get the people off. So just be prepared for that port. But usually you can get in a little bit better price.
That happened to us in New Orleans, although we weren't delayed at all, but it was really foggy. You got some really cool pictures the night of our the last night we were on board as we were coming up the Mississippi. It was really cool.
Oh, yeah. But then they blow that foghorn all night long.
They do have to blow the fog.
Night long.
Yeah. So another thing. That's just part of the magic of the cruise.
It
Christy.
is. You know what? You have a story and a memory forever.
Exactly. When else can you tell people that you slept all night long with the foghorn going off every 15 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is that they have to blow it? So, all right. So the magic is going to be out of Galveston, and we're not going to go over all of it, but she's got all different kinds of sailings from 4, 5, 6 night, and then we'll talk about the 7 night ones that she has in just a little bit. But then from Galveston, she moves over to New Orleans, does some cruises out of New Orleans. Once again, basically 4 night sailings that cut across the Gulf of Mexico down to either Progreso, or 4 and 5 night sailings to Progreso and Cozumel and then back. So just know that if you sail out of Galveston or New Orleans, you're not going to be going to Castaway Cay.
I know. Is this the first year Disney's going to Progreso?
No, they went last year.
I just missed that.
They went actually before COVID, I think, was the very first time when they went to Progreso, and then they were there last year because the sailing after ours, we just went to Cozumel on a 4 night, was a 5 night that was going to Cozumel and then also Progreso as well.
And I know like Carnival cruises there are other cruise lines that stop there, so it's not like new to cruising. But that could be good. You could get some different experiences.
So Liz also says, we are too about the ships, but I would love a bigger ship on our side for a minute or two. We're going to have the biggest ship of all, Liz. We're going to have the Global Dream, whatever that's going to be called. It's going to be out here in the Eastern Hemisphere. Where's China? Is that Eastern, Western? I don't know. It's going to be closer to us, I think.
Listen, it's 9:20 now. There's no schooling going on right now. No digging in the memory. But, here's what I'm always curious about. How come the Disney always picks like Mardi Gras to go to New Orleans? It's just maybe, I guess it's not all Mardi Gras, but it is like more of it. And it's just such a short little season.
Because I think that's part of the reason.
Because of Mardi Gras?
Yeah, I think it's part of the allure to maybe get out of New Orleans and experience part of it. I'm not sure if we'd want to be there on Mardi Gras, but it was kind of cool to be down there. And Wake and I were walking down Royal Street, and they had people all dressed up in like one of the bands. And I'm not sure if it was just like a day thing that they were doing or if they were practicing for the Mardi Gras parade, but it was cool to see them with their instruments out and everything else. So there's just kind of a vibe around Mardi Gras. So, just know that it's a busy, kind of crazy place during Mardi Gras. Maybe.
And don't wait to the last minute to make your hotel reservation.
Good point there.
It's
yeah.
Definitely what I would recommend.
Because the ship leaves right downtown New Orleans. I mean, pretty close to downtown. So a lot of hotels down there with easy walking distance to the port, but also easy walking.
People have luggage, Steve.
Hey, we walked. Wake and I did it. We made it.
Yeah. With your little roller bags. This is maybe because of all your flight training or something, but most of us have bigger than a little tiny carry-on, and we're not doing laundry on our 4 night cruise because we only brought 1 shirt and 1 pair of pants because we brought no luggage.
Okay, good point there. All right, well, let's talk about the bucket list, at least my bucket list, sailing that the Disney Magic is going to do. She's going to transition back to Galveston after New Orleans. And then eventually in April, she makes her way over to San Juan, Puerto Rico, where she's going to be doing 2 7-night Southern Caribbean sailings to islands that I would love to visit.
Goals, Steve. One day.
Goals, yeah. So I know that you've been to a couple of these. I'll read off the first one here. The first one is going to be April 20th on the Disney Magic, where she's going to go to Aruba, Curacao, Dominica, and then St. Martin with 2 days at sea. And then she transitions to April 27th. And you want to touch on those?
St. Kitts, Antigua, I looked it up before. I still said it wrong just now. Sorry, guys. Dominica, St. Lucia, and Barbados. So the thing I like about this sailing is it really is unique ports to all cruise lines. You know, a lot of cruise lines go to Aruba, go to Curacao. Dominica is unique, and a lot of cruise lines go to St. Martin. And Disney used to, as part of their Eastern flip, St. Martin was one of their ports. But not, and more are starting to go to St. Kitts. But not many go to Antigua. Not many go to Dominica. Not many go to St. Lucia. And St. Lucia's pretty far out there. They also have a bit of fog and some crazy winds. But Barbados, too, like, it's even hard to fly to Barbados because, you know, a lot of these places you can go to a land vacation at. But Barbados has very few airlines that even make it there. So it's like, you know, these are unique itineraries, unique locations that you're just not getting to often. And that makes it even more special to me.
And if you're a scuba diver, which was the island that's like the one of the top rated islands down there? Is she stopping it there? The 80 islands?
Yeah, Curacao and Aruba. And those are outside the hurricane belt, which doesn't really matter, but it does mean that their water is just a little bit less, like it's less untouched. But actually, one of my friends that's a dive master said St. Lucia is some of the best diving as well.
So something to think about if you love scuba diving or snorkeling, and you can make one of these cruises work, it might be something to look into.
For sure.
Anything else about what they've announced so far, Christy?
Nope.
Okay, well, let's run through this really quick then for the booking dates. They came out with the Pearl Castaway Club tier. So if you have sailed 25 times or more with Disney Cruise Line, you will be a Pearl member. There's still to be determined as to when or what benefits they're going to get, but they did not announce or they did not have Pearl set up yet to begin bookings. So the bookings start with Platinum. I
was like, did I miss that? I don't think Pearl's getting their benefit yet.
No, why would you announce it and then this is coming out and then
I think they
not be
said
able to
later in the year?
It?
Like I think they announced that.
Oh, did I miss that? Okay.
Like I feel like it was in the fine print talking about the dates or whatever. Everything was a little bit later.
So it's sort of like your cruise contract where it's like you may get to go to Aruba and you may not. You may.
You know, what's so funny is before we recorded, I noticed at the bottom of the little printout, it says itineraries and sail dates subject to change.
Port order may vary as well. So
and that is something you have to remember. Like it's in your cruise contract that they don't have to go to a port. They don't have to stop in any of those ports. Everything can change. And apparently, if there's weather and your cruise is 6 hours later, they don't have to pay you anything for that. That's me talking about the Disney Wish. People missed like a third of their sailings and they didn't get any money.
I know. I can't believe
I know it wasn't Disney's fault.
Right.
But also people missed like meals and a third of their cruise and lunch and dinner. If you had first seating, like your dinner was while you weren't on the ship.
I agree. So, I mean, sometimes the little things like that, which do cost, reap the benefits so much further when it just brings them back. So unfortunately,
give them a coupon for a future sailing.
Yeah.
Give them $50 in the store and a coupon for a future sailing because the $50 could have paid for them to have their fast food on the way to the port that for the meal they missed. More than likely, someone's going to take that 50, like Costco. They know this. This is why they give credit out for certain things because they know someone is going to go and spend $150 for a $50 coupon. So do that. Give 20% or 10% or something. Well, 20, right? Off of future sailing.
Yeah.
And then they're booking again.
Give them a lanyard. Don't make them print it out.
Oh my God. So
no, I don't want to go into that. No. I don't want to go into that.
But you have to finish that sentence because we're not editing this, right?
No, we're not going to edit it.
So I haven't fully looked at this because I had appointments the day this came out. But Steve is referencing how with the new club, with the new Castaway Club tier, there's like a little lanyard printout that you can include. Are we still getting lanyards? It was like a little picture, and I think Pearl had many, which is fantastic because she's the one really in charge. And wasn't the lowest tier Donald? I'm wrong. I
think you're misunderstanding.
I might be right, but anyway. So there's a little thing, And it's like you would shove it in your lanyard, I guess, to like show the world, but you're printing it yourself?
Yeah.
Like, give it out, Disney.
I think Scott from the Disney Cruise Line blog said it best, that they do this all the time. There's other things that you can go, if you go to the Castaway Club, where you can print out and do things, and he thinks it's just that. But supposedly, allegedly, he also said,
do people do that?
I don't, I guess. But allegedly, he also said that they have like boxes of magic bands that they wanted to give out on the Wish, and it just has not worked so far. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, that all comes from Scott at the Disney Cruise Line blog. If you want to find out more information, go to his site, and you can go down that rabbit hole there. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, let's talk about booking before we get out of here. So Monday, December 12th at 8 a.m. Eastern, Castaway or Platinum Castaway Club members will be able to book along with Golden Oak. And then the next day, December 13th, 8 a.m. once again, sharp Eastern time, Gold Castaway Club members will be able to book. December 14th, Silver Castaway Club members are going to be able to book these sailings along with Disney Vacation Club members and Adventure Insiders. If you're a DVC member and looking to book this, you need to call member services.
No, you can also call your travel agent. They just have to have your member number, and Disney like has to call member services to verify. So it takes a minute, but you do not have to book with member services.
Okay, good point there. And then also Adventures by Disney Insiders, the same thing. If you've been on one Adventures by Disney, you can either call them, or easier yet, use your travel agent rather than trying to call them. Anyway, so Silver Castaway Club members, DVC members, Adventure Insiders, that's all December 14th. And then the general booking, or general public, for those who have not sailed, opens up on December 15th, 8 a.m. Eastern time. And as we always say, if you want the cheapest price, the best time to book is early.
Right.
And I guess that's all we've got, other than the fact that if you do not have a travel agent, Christy is a highly qualified travel agent. I know a lot of our listeners use her. And if you're looking for somebody with a lot of experience on not only on Disney Cruise Line, but on other cruise lines as well, we can't highly recommend Christy enough. So Christy, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with you to use your services?
You can find me at my email address at Christy@packyourpixiedust.com. That will be in the show notes. And you can just go to packyourpixiedust.com, and there's in the About Me section, or Contact Me rather, you can fill out a form or get all my contact information on there. And then I am on social media with the same handle, so you can find me. And even though I am going to be out of town Monday and Tuesday, I have it all worked out where my assistant's going to be making the bookings. So nobody's bookings are going to be left unbooked, and I'll still be checking in from Europe, so it won't be an issue.
Perfect. So, all right. Well, I guess that's it. The spring 2024 sailings are finally out, and bookings begin next week, next Monday, December 12th, for the Platinum Castaway Club members. I hope that. Go ahead.
Just one more thing really quick. If you're using me as a travel agent or anybody else, you have to give them your Castaway Club number. So if you're using a travel agent for the first time and you're reaching out to have them book a cruise, they won't otherwise have your Castaway Club number. But to book, even if you were to do it by yourself, Monday through Thursday, you have to be either logged in the account. And as a travel agent, how we log in is by having your date of birth, your last name, and your Castaway Club number. So you just have to make sure, like, you would give your date of birth anyway, but you have to, in this case, if you want to use early booking, give your Castaway Club number.
Perfect. Well, I guess as we get out of here, any other thoughts, Christy?
No, that's it. I hope we want to hear what you're booking. Post on social media on the picture for this episode and let us know what you are going to book.
Yeah, all the best to you as we head into the weekend. Have a great weekend coming up. And then all the best to everybody who is going to be booking next week for the spring 2024 sailings. So looking forward to seeing where everybody's going to be sailing, and hopefully our family will be out there and we'll be able to run into some of you out there as well. So on behalf of myself and Chris, who's not here tonight, and I'll let Christy say goodbye, but thanks once again for coming back and taking a listen. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.